Well, my name is Marcus. If you haven't met me, I'm the owner of the store. So I've been drumming since I've probably been 16. Played a lot in church and had professional drum lessons with a great guy named Dr. Sandy Schaefer, who he taught me one of the most important things, and that's what I'm going to try to teach you guys. And that's how to learn drums. Okay. So a lot of times people say, well, how did you learn, right? They want to know how, that's great that you can do a lot of stuff, but how did you get there, right? So if you don't know how to learn, then there's plenty of drummers who just played the same 5 drum beats their entire life. Now you can do that, like most music only needs about 2 drum beats. Okay, if you think about rock and roll, right? Think about I don't know. So there's some famous songs out there. The whole drum beat, boom boom ga, boom boom ga, right? We Will Rock You. Everybody knows when that song hits. Oh, that's We Will Rock You. But you could probably play that drum beat to 50% of the rock songs out there, and you'd be fine. That's not what I'm trying to teach you. I think most of you could get to play a rock drum beat without my help. Who can play a rock drum beat right now? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's okay if you can't. Who can play a samba? Gotcha. All right. Good question. It's because you're not Latin American. A samba, in one hand, you go ding 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 ding. Think about that. Ding 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 ding. But your feet are going boom 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 boom, right? So you're going boom right? But then your hands going do ga do do goo da goo, right? Now how do you think about all of that at the same time? You can't. I don't care how good you are. That's almost impossible. Because what you're trying to do is recreate 7 guys playing percussion on their own by yourself. Okay? A samba is a dance. People are going down the street, okay? Down in Latin America, there's a whole party going on. One guy's on a drum, poof, 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 poof. Some guy's got a stick with a wood block, right? You have to do that on your own. So, what I'm going to teach you is how to do that. Now that might seem impossible. And I have a wide range of people here, right? Wide range of ages. All of you, every one of you, despite your talent level, can learn a samba. It's one of the hardest beats that you can learn. But you need to know, how do I get there, right? How do I get this hand to do this, and this one's doing this? Like, how do you do that, right? Well, your feet are doing something else. So it's really easy, but we have to break it down. So that's what you're going to come away with, so that you guys, on your own, can learn any beat that you want to learn. You don't need me. You don't actually need the computer. You could write out any beat and learn. So the first thing we're going to learn is like, what are we actually doing? So I've got this chart here, and we're going to go over that first, after a couple of house rules. Number 1, do not play the drums unless I tell you to. Number 2, you're paired up with somebody. That's the only way I could offer 12 people to get in this room. So you'll all have a chance to play. You don't actually need to sit and play drums here for 30 minutes. It will do you no good. We're just showing you the basic concept, so then you can go home and do it. Okay? So patience and like willingness to swap when I say to swap, that's really all we have to do. After today's lesson, I would also like a commitment to go home and get down what I tell you to get down. Otherwise, there's probably no point coming for lesson 2. Now, you don't specifically need a drum set at home to learn how to play drums, although it's helpful for about 50% of what you need to know, okay? So if you have the ability, we've got a rental program, $65 a month. I've It's something I've never done before where you can run a whole trap set, whether that's an electric kit or an acoustic kit. We'll get you hooked up if you guys want to go down that road. But if you don't have one at home, you don't have the ability, maybe you're sitting in an apartment and you don't even have the ability to get an electric kit, on this pattern, right? Like I can learn, and if I'm sitting there at my desk, okay, that is enough to be able to sit at a drum set and play the beat. Okay, so what we're talking about purely today is coordination. So when people think about trap set, they're like, man, I don't have the coordination to play a trap set. And I would say, yes, you do. You just don't know how to have the coordination. Okay, so what we have here is music. That is how drum music looks. So if you've never seen this before, I know we have a drummer here, right? You drum, snare drum? Okay. This top line is the hi-hat or a ride. So this top line is a hi-hat or a ride. So it's symbolized, no pun intended, by an X. Okay? So on that top line, you see on this, we have 4 beats, right? So that's going to be ding, 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 ding. The next line down, now this is easy to envision. The hi-hat, that's this guy. Okay, this is a hi-hat. Okay, so that's higher on the drum set than the middle line, which is your snare. Okay, so the middle mark is the middle of your drum set, which is right in front of you. That's your snare. Pretty easy. The bottom, I bet you can't guess what that is.
It's the kick drum.
Yes. Now, some of you guys are sitting at drum sets that have, 3 toms and multiple crash cymbals. We just ignore those. Okay? So, as a, just to help you understand, you guys see people playing a bunch of fills, like blah, going crazy, and that's what some of you probably want to do. That is not hard to do. What's really hard to do is keep a solid, steady, deep drum beat the whole band feels. And so like when you stop, everybody still feels the drum beat. That's the hardest thing to do. So we're not worried about fills right now, although you will learn some fills. We're worried about how do you keep a really great drum beat, okay? So this music here is how we get there. Now, does anybody have no idea how to read sheet music? Like 0? Perfect. All right, so each of these marks has a time signature. Now a time, there's 1/8 notes, quarter notes, half notes, whole notes. And there's also 16th notes and 32nd notes. These are the things when you're hearing da 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 or da 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 or deek, deek, deek. Those were different types of speed, right? How do I know how fast to play it? Well, do you see this little line at the top linking these notes? That's called an 1/8 note. That means there's 8 in a measure. So a measure, if you think about that song, We Will Rock You, right? So we're counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Right? You guys follow me? So when you're listening to music, when you go home or you're in the car, try to count it. Count along with it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now I know this is rudimentary to some of you, but that is the basics of learning any drum beat. You have to be able to count, right? If you don't count in school, you're on some other planet, okay? And these get more complicated. So I have on this side, I have one drum beat where we're going boom, ga, boom, boom, ga, right? That was what I was just saying. But down here I have boom, boom, got, boom, boom, got, boom, boom, got. It just starts over. Do you see how I just changed the beat? Now, in your right hand, who's left-handed? Anyone? Any lefties? Okay, perfect. In your right hand, we're going to hold one stick, and that hand is responsible, generally speaking, for the top mark. Okay? So, now, if you don't, or if you're not sitting on a drumstick, or even if a drum set, you can use your right hand to snap. Okay? So, here's what's happening. Let's say the song is going, and we're counting 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and painful, right? That's very slow. That's how we learn. So think about this as the song going along. Okay? This is the song going along. So right here, what do? We hit the kick and the hi-hat at the exact same time. So here's what I want you to do just at your chair. I want everybody to snap your right hand and hit your right foot when I say 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. See? I told you, you all can learn how to drum. If you can do that, you're already there. That's all drumming is. Okay? I know some of you may not believe me, but that's all drumming is. Okay? So here's the deal. What do we do right here? Right? Let's just, for now, let's think about snap and stomp. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Good. All right. Right. Did you feel that? We knew that on 4, as a team, that's what we're doing. Ben, straighten up over there. Does anyone not? Do you know who Ben is? Anybody? Ben is the drummer for a band called Rathco, and this kid is a crazy good drummer. He can lay down a steady beat. We'll have him give a demo maybe a little later if he's up for it. It's early. Okay, so now this one, we are still going to use our right hand, right? That's our hi-hat. And now we're going to pair it with, which one should this be? That should be your snare. That's your other hand. So, same exercise. It's going to be your right hand and your left hand together. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Now, here's what we're going to do. This is on 3. This is on 4. Get it? So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, everybody add a drum set. I want you to pick up your sticks and put your foot on the kick pedal. And I want you to do the same thing. So, right hand, right, is going to hit the hi-hat when you kick. And then hi-hat and snare, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. On 3, what are we doing? On 3, we're doing this. Okay? Look at the sheet music. 1, 2. Oh, you gotta wait for 3. 1, 2. Almost. Now we're gonna slow down. Now close your hi-hat with your other foot. Your left foot should be holding down on your hi-hat like this. So anybody who's not doing that, sorry I didn't shut any of the hi-hats. All right. So right here. There you go. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah.
So right here, first everybody hit your kick and your hi-hat at the same time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. At the same time, on 4, kick and hi-hat. 1, 2, 3. Okay, you get that? Now everybody hit the hi-hat and the snare at the same time. 1, 2, 3. See, I knew you guys could do it, right? Now, here's the thing about drumming. Now, you've already learned this beat, you just don't realize it. Because you guys did this, and you guys did this, right? So, you just have to do that 2 more times and you're through the measure. All right? Now, when I was learning a mambo or a samba, it sounded about that good. All right? Because what's happening is you're like, okay, let's take this one. You're like, okay, foot and hand together. Foot and hand together. Then I'm like, hand and hand together. You follow me? That's really slow, right? Does that sound like a drum beat? No. That's the only way to learn complicated patterns. That's it. So everybody wants to sit at the drum set and get the right hand going, right? So get your right hand going 8th notes. I'm going to pick on you. Is that okay? So just play 8th notes. Yeah. And then, like, they're like, okay, that's really going good. So now I'm going to add my foot. So go ahead and add your foot, you know. So then they add their foot, right? And then they're like, okay, now I think I'm going to add my snare, right? Right? And so then you're trying to, right? All right, so I'm going to stop. That's how people try to learn. But that's not how you can learn complicated drum beats. It's about lining up your hands and your feet. That's all it is. It's lining it up because you have to be able to go together when these are together, separate when it's separate, and that's muscle memory. That's all it is. It's just muscle memory. And so you have to go slow enough to learn it. I'm telling you this and taking a minute to tell you this because learning complicated drum beats or any drum beats can feel really stupid. Okay? It can feel ridiculous to go, ding, ga, ga, ga. Okay? It can feel really bad. When I was learning a mambo, can I borrow this drum set really quick? I'll get up here. So to keep in perspective, a mambo right? And that's all fine, but when I learned it, it was like so. That's how it sounds when you learn a drum beat, and I'm telling you so you're not frustrated. Because you can sit at it and be like, oh, I'll just never get this. And that's just not true. I had to sit and do that really slowly for probably an hour or a half hour, and then my brain couldn't comprehend it anymore, and then I had to just go to bed. And when I woke up, I was twice as good as when I went to sleep. The human brain is amazing. It processes things when you're not working on it. So you work on it a little bit, you can't quite get it, or if you think you're going way too slow, don't worry about it. Your brain's already processing it. You wake up, you're going to be there. Okay? So, now, we're going to do this, and then we're going to switch people so somebody else is at a drum set. So what we're going to do very slow, again, this is your right hand, foot, snare. I'm going to do a little exercise. I'm going to go very, very slow. And the reason I'm going slow is because you need to work at the speed that your brain is processing the information. One of the ways to make mistakes and never get better is to rush. If you try to do this fast but your body can't do it fast, then you're learning mistakes that your body's now memorizing and it's going to try to redo the mistakes. We have to avoid mistakes, okay? So the way we learn is to go slow enough to not make mistakes ever. I know some people have told you making mistakes is okay. It's not on drums. All right, so when this bar gets over this mark, your foot and your right hand will work together on their respective parts. When it comes over here, your hand and your hand will work together, okay? So again, kick, hi-hat, and those of you not at a drum set, please pay attention because you're going to be doing this next. So, when this moves across, hit it, okay? Beautiful. We're going to go a little faster. Pay attention. Do you get the idea? All right, switch. Hi-hat kick. You guys understand what I'm saying, right? You get that? Now, over here, actually, I'm just going to use this one. If I do this, this is the rock beat that everybody has heard, or the country beat, your entire life. Okay, so we're going to do this slowly. This is a hi-hat hit that has nothing by it, does it? It's just your hand. Same with this one. See that? See how that lines up? Now, down here we're counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Do you see how that correlates with that top bar? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We're going to go really slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Oh, I heard a kick. Who hit the kick? You see, this is just the hi-hat. So it's going to go hi-hat kick together. That hi-hat hand is separate. Here we go again. When it crosses, who hit the snare? Oh, see, it's tricky, isn't it? We're going to go slower. We had a mistake. That's okay. Ready? You guys get that? That is the rock drum beat. Now, it didn't sound like the rock drum beat, but that's okay, because it will. You keep doing that. Here's what's interesting about the human body. This is a very fascinating thing that I learned from this professor who taught me. If you do that at that speed, which doesn't feel like drumming, and you do that 8 times perfectly, okay, so we would go boom, ska, boom. If you did that 8 times perfectly without making a mistake, your body would already be able to nearly double the speed. It's crazy, okay? Muscle memory is important. If you did that, if we sat in class now the next 15 minutes, and just, if you guys could put up with the boredom of me going, okay, ready? And we just walked through that, you would already be able to play a rock drum beat, okay? If you go home, and you go, and I've got this printed out, I've got these sheets. If you go home and you go, okay, foot and hand, hand, hands together, hand, foot together, hand, hands together, hand. If you went home and did this, right? You can already sit at that drum set and you can play that rhythm. It's that easy, okay? Now that didn't seem easy, right? Doesn't seem real exciting to do this, right? If you did that, your coordination, you would be able to play a rock drum beat. That's all it takes. So, if you want to actually learn drums, you need to go home and do that, even if you don't have a drum set, okay? Or you could use the table, you could sit at home and go like, all right, I know my right hand is my hi-hat, right? You could do that. Coordination is what it is. It's not about having this in front of you. It is on a certain level, we're going to talk about that. But the coordination that it takes to play it is more important. I can play a rock drum beat on anything. Give me some rocks. I'll play a drum beat on some rocks, okay? Now, over here, this is the Y. So we're going to switch in a minute, but I'm going to have all of you follow me on this second chart. And this is going to go boom, got, boom, boom, got, right? That's the We Will Rock You. Okay, so get that in your head, but we're going to go slow. It's not going to feel like it. All right, so I'm just going to go with my pointer, and you're going to have to see that this is together, this is separate. This is together, right? Snare, hi-hat, that's your hands. For those of you sitting in the chair, please feel free to use your thumbs and ready. So now, together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 is where we're going to hit. So I'm going to count 1 and 2 and. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and, oh, that's the double kick. Let's try that again. See here, we're boom, boom. So we got to read the music up and down and see what's going on. This is like a game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Good, I heard some right patterns there. You follow me? Anyone have a question about that and how that works? Anyone sit at a set need to try it one more time to get it right? One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it's just in order. Now, let me tell you something. If you're kind of struggling, I was maybe moving faster than you want to move, right? Were you was it a little hard to do that? So do this first one for me. Do the first one for me. Good. Do this one. Good. Okay. Good. So you've got it. It's just a matter of going slow and doing it, right? That's all we have to do. These drum beats are the simplest drum beats you will learn. When we start drumming, and even if you keep the top pattern the same, these drum beats started looking a lot more when you get kind of, into it a little bit. It could look like this, and then there could be an X down here, and then there could be, another X here, and then there could be another note here. Now, that's pretty complicated, I guess, right? Do-do, ga-ga, goo, ga-ga, do-do, ga-da, do, ga, right? Like you could make these beats. Guess what? You learn it the same way. It's like, okay, do, do, ga, ga, okay, you follow? So that's why the discipline of making yourself take this sheet. Now, before you showed up, this would have just been a whole bunch of dots. But, do you want one, Ben? Do you need one? No, all right. So on the bottom, I have what these notes mean and how it correlates to a measure. This big line here, this big section, that's one measure. Think about that as 1, 2, 3, 4. And it explains that a whole note takes the whole measure. It explains that a half note, there's two of them. So if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, a half note is that slow. Okay, it explains a quarter note. There's one on every beat. Dot, 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 dot. An eighth note, there's 8 in a measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So it explains that, but in the middle of the sheet, I want you to look at beat 5. It goes boom, boom, got, boom, boom, got, boom, boom, got, boom, boom. Do you have a sheet? Did I miss you? So if you look at beat 5, I want you to look at that kick. You see how it's kick, kick, snare, kick, snare, kick, kick, snare, kick, snare. You see that? So that sounds like boom, boom, got, boom, boom. Oh, that's it. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Got, goo, goo. Got, goo, goo, got, goo, goo. Got. Now that sounds a lot more like drumming, doesn't it? If you take beat 5 and you go home and you go, right? Again, it's about coordination. If you don't have a full drum set at home, you have no way to get one, you can do that, you just follow it. Like I said, it's kind of like a game. You look at the first measure and you go, okay, together, 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 together. And you have to count in time. At school, do they tell you about counting in your head or maybe tapping your foot? When you're drumming and when you're beginning to drum, and even maybe later as you continue to drum, we talk about using a metronome. If you have a cell phone, you have a metronome app. You can, they're free. We sell metronomes. But a metronome simply goes geek, 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 geek. They're really annoying. They just sit there on a beat, right? But in your head, when you're looking at these things, I always have students count 1 and 2 and 3 and you have to go slow enough to line up the beat. So I have the main rock beat at the top. The bottom beats are variations to help you just read music and line everything up and get used to seeing it and get used to counting it. 1 and 2. Okay, so that's kind of your homework. Now switch. Now there we go. Sticks, sticks. Yep. So this is good. Yep, you're almost right, but this will be at the top here, and this will be down underneath. Okay, get your sticks ready. Let me see how you're gonna hit that. Yep, and then that one goes underneath. Yep, yep. All right. So here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Oh, we're gonna try. We'll go slower. So this is boom, boom. We're gonna go slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and ready? Can you see it? You're getting a little frustrated?
She just couldn't.
Oh yeah.
It's okay.
All right. I gotta make myself smaller. Ready? 1. Go ahead and cross your hand over. 1 and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Do that again, even slower. So when we cross over, I'm going to stop counting. When we cross over, I want you to play it. So remember when I showed you the example that I was sitting at a drum set playing a mambo and I really felt ridiculous? Okay? Some of you right now might be like, I can't get it. It's because you're not going slow enough, right? If I just did this, say ready, everybody hit their hand and their foot together on 4, you did it, right? Everyone did that. So when we're sitting at home with this sheet music, it's really difficult to try to get everybody to do everything at the same time. That's what band instructors get paid for, right? They're like, oh my gosh, I have 50 kids, I have to all get them to play the same note together. It's almost impossible. People don't count, okay? But when you're sitting at home in the safety of your own room, and you go, okay, I'm gonna play this together. So ready, on 4, everybody play this together. 1, 2, 3, 4. You all did it. Just play this one separate. Hi-hat, ready, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. You see how that works? When I've learned complicated drum beats, that is the speed at which I have to go. You can't feel silly about it. It just takes you time to process. Now, I know you're probably sick of me hearing that. It is the single most crucial thing you need to understand about learning drum beats. Okay? I can take every one of you and teach you a mambo. You have to be willing to go slow before you go fast. Right? So, now, if you are not at a drum set, please keep trying to click along. I'm going to do one more pattern just to further my point before talking about a couple technique issues. Alright, so when I say 4, hit where my stick is at. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. That was nearly 100% completion rate. You see that? That's what drumming is. I'm going to do a little faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. You see that? Switch. That's what it takes. Now, you were forced to go slow because I was counting. The hardest thing to do is make yourself go slow. Everyone ready? Get your sticks in position. Let me double check. So your right hand, we're going to hit this one again. Yep, there we go. Can you hear him okay? Good, good, good. Okay. Can you see okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, so this will be the kick over here. So we're going to try this again. Kick, hi-hat, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good. You see that? So now you're doing it. If I just kept going for a few minutes, you guys would all play that 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If we did it faster, then we'd just be like, goo, goo, ga, da, goo. So here's the thing. You don't need to sit at a drum set right now with me doing that. You already have the tools it takes to line things up. You see? So that's why I say if you're not willing to go do that, this might sound really mean, don't come back next week. Okay? Save the spot for someone else. You don't want to put in the work? Don't do it. It's really frustrating at first to line it up. But this is a low impact kind of an exercise. You could just be sitting there watching TV and go like, okay. Right? I mean, when I was your guys' age, I'd always be like, you know, like I was always drumming on something, right? So this sheet is just kind of some tools to help you, and it gets really, really fun after this. This was like the painful session, all right? So go home, do that. Now, if you get a drum set, there's a couple other things I want to talk about drumsticks. So everybody who has 2 sticks, give the other person one of their sticks. So I need everybody to have a drumstick in their hand. So what I want you to do is take your right hand and take your drumstick, and this drumstick is going to go up above the knuckle on your pointer finger. Okay, there's a little ridge there on your knuckle. So we're going to put it right there. And then we're going to hold it with our thumb. Okay, so I want everyone to just do this right now. And I'm going to go check your hands. With your hand down, your palm down like this, I want it to be light enough in your hand. So everyone do this for me. And I want you to be able to bounce that stick. That is the right amount of tension that your stick needs. Okay? If you hold it too tight, it doesn't go anywhere. If you hold it too loose, you drop it. There's a balance, and I pivot the stick at that knuckle. Okay? The reason is this finger wraps underneath. When it wraps underneath, I have control. If it's under like this, I don't have really control except my wrist. I know a drummer who went to college for drumming, and this is how he played. He was a really good drummer, still is. The only difference is he had to have surgery on his wrist because he got a cyst here from drumming incorrectly. Because he practiced so much so fast, your wrist is not made to do this at the speeds it takes. Okay? So, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Sticks are made to bounce. Eighth notes, here's these eighth notes. Once we get it, it does not look like this. Wrist, 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 wrist. Now for a while, you can do that and have no consequences. But this technique, this motion, if I just hold loose as an idea, now you'll have to go home and kind of work with this. If I hit this right, my wrist is going to stay down. Watch what the stick does. You see it pop up? Okay. My second hit, I'm going to use my fingers to bring it down. So my wrist hits, then my finger hits. So that is 1 and 2 and 3 and. That technique is something you kind of have to try to work on. And so by working on that, here's what I do. I flip my stick around and I hold it like this. So everybody do this for me. Try to do that. Try to just swing that in your hand. Put it almost to the end of the stick though. And then hold that against that knuckle position I was saying. The knuckle in your finger. Oh, this way though. Now you can't invent ways. There you go. Now hold your hand out. Now take your fingers and put it up against your forearms. So now we're like this. That motion, when done right, feels like this. Okay? There's a lot of drummers who take their sticks and they just warm up like this before a gig. Okay? Now it might hurt, I don't know. Depends how hard you slap it. But my wrist is not moving. You see that? Only my fingers are moving. So if you want an exercise to start preparing for playing quickly, it's all in the fingers. Okay? So that's how, let me see that stick. When you're hearing people play very fast, like, you know, that speed is not from wrists, it's finger speed. Okay? So this technique, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Right? That really is a great exercise. So now you have a little bit of just an idea of how that stick should feel. This isn't like mashing your hand against the drum set. So if you have a real drum set at home, or if you're going to get a real drum set, this isn't about how hard we can hit it. It's about how controlled we can hit it, how quiet it is. So the benefit of practicing that stick motion, when done right and fast, it's all just about control and sounding precise. Okay, so that is the first session. Does anyone have any questions? We've got a couple minutes. Yes. You have a question? Okay. Any other questions? All right, so take those, try it out. If you have any questions, you can also email me this week if you think of something at home. All your parents have my email address. And next week it'll be the same time. For those of you, if you were wanting to rent a drum set for the 65 month to go home and practice this, crew's prepared to do that, all right? And so otherwise, yeah, you're good to go. So.